right. All right. Okay. I'm just having a little bit of a good time here while I do some just cool drawing stuff. I'm going to switch over to a different method of light. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. All right. I'm just fooling around with the character I just was drawing while I was listening to some of my buds doing their live videos. I'm cooling down for the night. It's already 2:48. I'll be on here for about 10-15 minutes. Just to kind of show off a little bit of concept art. Thinking of this as kind of like a jet deal off his head. Maybe I like putting these vents. I got this from Metal Gear. It always makes things look kind of futuristic, kind of techy. So I have been just listening to people talk today. I did a lot of listening today. And it's been good. It's been good. I feel like we're all of us are connecting on interesting levels. You guys, if you have something to say, please say it in the chat so we can. But anyway, so I've been listening, and I'm taking this time to kind of cool down with my art, but also to kind of reflect. And using this as kind of like a vlog, if you will. Been hearing about this arguing that's going on and the fighting that's happening online and all the backbiting and such. And I just, I'm getting to the point. I think I'm a little done with all this stuff. I want to keep my life toxicity free. Tommy says, don't recognize the character. Is it Steel? No, it's my own idea. See, this is why I want to get away from drawing traditional or licensed characters, because everybody just assumes whenever I draw something, it's supposed to be a. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. I'm still figuring out where I fit in this world sometimes. Tiger sharks. Let's see, what does this say? I gotta open up the chat a little bit better. I can't read it. Looks cool. Right on, Tommy. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. I don't know why I talk this way. I feel like I'm talking through a straw sometimes. Like I have a hard time. I think I'm talking a lot lately. So my voice is always kind of raspy at the end of the day. It's just an end of the day thing, I think. With EVS, I hope. What do you mean with EVS? What did I say? What did I say? Help me out. Help me out, Tommy. Help me out. Is it Tommy or is it Tommy? I don't know. I'm having a hard time breathing these days, too. I think I'm getting a little touch of asthma. I swear. I swear it's true. I swear it's true. You said you do not know where you are now. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm down with the movement. I'm down with my friends. I'm just saying, I sometimes I feel like I don't have the same fight that they have, and it's not a. Sometimes I wonder if it's even fair to align, because they're definitely. I mean, I'm happy to support them. Is what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. These guys have real beefs, man. They're going through real stuff, But I'm glad. I'm grateful for all the support that I've gotten from the community, and But I just feel like in general, I don't have the same testimony, if you will, right? I'm just kind of. See, Michael W says, or Switzerland right now. No, it's just interesting. One of the things I think about now is I'm like, man, I do a lot of conventions, and I'm hearing a lot of people talk about how they're being pushed out of conventions. And like, I haven't had that experience yet, and that's going to hurt me the most if that happens to me. But hopefully not. I like what Art's saying. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be diligent in keeping my core values, which comes from my faith in Christ. And I'm not trying to fight people. I don't want to fight anybody. That's not the way to do it. Not everyone needs to be a bulldog. It's more important to be a good person to others. I appreciate that, Tom. I really do. Matt Saba says, what? Yet. Yeah. One Night Fat Man says, it's not about a fight. It's about you guys producing quality, and you are amazing. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's the thing. That's what I really want to focus on. It's just hard because I just want to get this art book done. I'm kind of just sharing with you guys. I'm going to get this art book done, get it published. I'm excited about that. That's really on the where I'm right on the cusp of that. And then so at least something will be, for those of you who have supported me, something will come to you sooner than later. You don't have to wait as long. And but I do want to do other projects, and IndieGoGo is a great spot for it, I think. Also got a lot on my mind, man. I'm feeling physically kind of rough, wore out lately too. Not feeling so hot. How's this guy look? Does this guy look creepy? I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to misrepresent the group. You know. Sometimes I feel like I have some plans for this. This character might be somehow involved in one of my new projects, but not totally sure about that yet. But I feel like I want to participate in a greater way. I don't know, but it's good though. It's good. Okay. So this guy, I don't know the story with this guy yet. I think the reason why I'm thinking like this too is I really want people to think, before we say stuff. I want us to be thinking about what we're saying before we unload a bunch of commentary. I think everybody involved, whether you're on one side or the other, we're all trying to be work together. I really believe that, but maybe we just don't see it that way. Let me see. Just be you, man. That's what Comics Gay is about. Just being you and not being persecuted for it. Yeah, I hope so. The thing is, says Tommy, people shout now. The books come out and are there. They speak about who you are as individuals and hopefully friends to each other. Right now, Elliot, have you ever tried to animate any of your work? I haven't, man. I have not. Tumbacalypse. What's going on, brother? Yeah, sometimes I feel that way. I think about stuff. I got, just came back from hanging out with my kids at school and learning about the kinds of ways I need to talk with them. And, sometimes I feel a little like a hypocrite, but that I'm fighting all the time, arguing. I don't want to fight. I'm not a peace guy either. I always fight for things when I have to fight. Trust me, I've done that for so long. It used to make me sick. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know who this guy is. He's kind of fun. Give him little pupils. It's like he's looking. But on this side, he's got his eyes covered there. This guy, though, he's cool. So, Elio, why do you think Colossus would be better than Mr. Sinister? Well, I guess it kind of depends on you, man. I like Colossus more than Sinister. That's why I said that. But you can pick whatever you want, man. I mean, if you like Sinister, I can certainly. I've drawn Sinister plenty of times, so I'm not afraid of drawing him. That's faux show. Okay, I don't know what this guy's deal is. Tommy says, I think you have your heart in the right place. The situation just seems that people are not ready to listen. The year will go on and next spring will come. Yeah, you're right, Tommy. So Colossus is your preferred. Right on. Then let's go with Colossus, brother. Yeah, it's not that I don't. I mean, it certainly isn't that I haven't changed my mind about any of this stuff that I've chosen. What's going on here? I got a weird bleep. I don't know what that is. I would get Ghostwriter, but I already bought the one you did. That's true. It's just that, I see so many people. It's hard. What is that noise? Hold on, guys. I'm getting bleeped somehow. I'm getting blink. Is this a boomer problem? I think it is. Let me see something. Hey, Austin, how you doing, man? I don't know who I'm drawing. I don't know who this guy is yet. I haven't decided yet. Let's see. I quit these extra programs. So, and I hate when my voice does this. It just gets all weird. Hey, if you guys like the drawings, hit the thumbs up. Be a homie. Well, thanks, man. Pop Cultivation says, looks like Midnighter a bit. Yeah, I could. And this is kind of inspired by by Gatchaman a little bit. I'm trying to hold your values. There is no need for fighting. They will run out of steam soon enough. Yeah. Right, that's who I thought. Yeah, a little bit of that says, or us, there is no spring, just the wind that smells fresh before the storm. Ooh, nice. Nice. I like it. Caanan, huh? I like that. Listen, it's comes down to this. I like to think about what I'm going to do next. I don't like to just rush in and screaming and yelling and fighting, because I think that makes us look crazy. That's one of my things that I'm concerned about. Is I see, we got to be careful we don't become like them. No, I want an Asgard commission. Oh, you got it, man. I got to learn more about your project, man. I'm sorry I haven't been able to back it, man. These days I've been in a financial bind. I really want to back everything, but and especially your project, Max. I love what you're doing. And yeah, I was saying that when they come at us, when anyone comes after you, let's forget about all this other stuff. Let's put all that aside for a minute, because I think that's too charged. Let's just talk about life. Let's just talk together about life. So when people start coming after you, we have two opportunities. Caanan, what's going on? I feel you, man. Key to stay focused, choose grace and agree to disagree. Yeah. I'm with you, Caanan. Unfortunately, we're getting pulled into a fight that, and it's not, I'm not getting pulled in by anybody in our group. I'm just saying that the tendency is for us to fall into that trap of where we want to retaliate. And well, what are we retaliating for? And I know what we're retaliating for, but who are we retaliating against? I've always learned the chat pop-ups kind of cover the art. Does it? How does that work? Oh, I guess. Oh, okay. I see the way you guys maybe are watching it. The two best inkers in indie comics on our stream since Men's End. You're talking about Caanan and Ben? Yeah, I believe it. Believe it. But yeah, so anyway, back to this thing, I think we got to be careful, man. And what I've always learned growing up is that when, we're supposed to rise above all these things. That's how I grew up. I grew up in the Bronx, and in the Bronx, there was a lot of opportunities for failure in that regard. And I just learned. I learned different. And, so I just got to keep I want to keep my head on tight because that's what they want. They want us to slip up. And sometimes we don't sound like we're the gracious people that we think we want to be. We want people to think we are, you know. And I'm not saying that we're not the gracious people that we want to be, but we're not acting like it sometimes. And you know, again, there are some people in the group have very legitimate situation, you know. My problem hasn't been that kind of persecution. My problem has been poor business practices in those companies causing me not to be able to get steady work that can support my family. So in that way, sometimes I feel like I hope I'm not dragging the group down, because I really don't have that kind of fight, you know. But, you know, it's just more about, I like this. I like being able to support everybody, though. And I hope that I'm bringing a voice of reason. That's what I'm trying to do, is be reasonable. Man, everybody's so frustrated. I'm not dragging anyone down. Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm not, you know, what do they call this? This is what they mean by virtue signaling? I hope that's not what it's coming across. I'm genuinely, you know, I'm being just really thinking about everything, you know, and making sure that I'm doing the right things. It's important that we spend some time, you know, that we spend time to, in a way, meditate on how we behave. I just got, you know, I don't want to be, if I'm going to be persecuted, I want to be persecuted for Christ, not for some of those other things. Now, if it comes to me, that's something else. We'll fight all day. I'm all down with that. I think I'm understanding my role in CG, says Caanan, to change the stigma of what CG is. That's what I try to do, man, says Ben. I want my work to be my voice. I want to tell you what I can, but I'll show you. I can do, but I'll show you. That's right. That's right. That's how I feel, man. That's one of the reasons why, that's one of the things I've fallen in love with about this group. It's not the, I mean, I could easily fall into the banter, but I want to be, I want people to say, oh my God, this guy's work is strong. You know, I get all the time, well, why aren't you working at Marvel DC? Well, I don't want to work at Marvel DC. Not anymore. I want to do this for myself. I want to do this for my family. And if I have fans, and I think I do now, I want to do it for my fans. Not just, you know, not wilding out. Tumbaklip says, this movement, quote unquote, is about making good comics again. Good people doing good work and good people appreciating it. Yeah, it is. I think it is. That's what I'm here for. Kansas, I think us three and a few others bring that calm to a group like you mentioned have been hurt. Tommy says, it's sad that educate yourself sounds hollow now. The main thing for you guys is making products. Next, I have heard that you would like help shops. Leslie, calling someone names is not cool. Well, this is how I see it. This is my vision for my part in how I participate in this. Again, this is why I say, you know, is this what it is? But I, like Caanan saying, I do want to listen. There's so many things going on in this world, just in my neighborhood alone, and I want to be about the right thing. And I just think we're creating more of those problems when any of us. I'm not talking about necessarily anybody in the chats and the groups and stuff. I'm saying when we all lose our cool, especially on Twitter. You know, some people think that they're being helpful and they're not when they get on the offensive. We got to learn that they want us to fall apart. And so I've said it from the beginning, the best revenge is to be successful. I think this is what Ben was trying to say. So yeah, rock and roll Ayatollah. The platform in CG is to speak and bring positivity is crazy huge. You're right, man. You're right. You're absolutely right, man. And I think that's why I'm also attracted to the movement, because it is an opportunity to. That's why I love talking to Doug, and I love talking um, I love listening. I don't talk much to the Tugs and the Edwins of the world, but I love the flavor they bring to the whole atmosphere, the calmness, the tranquility. And I'm 45 years old, man. I have heart problems, diabetes, I got nerve problems. We gotta chill, y'all. We've got to chill. Matty Sava says many different ways to lead in any movement, from the front or from the behind. We need some yin to the yang in this movement. I think I agree with that. Tumbaklo says, "Yep, keep it positive. Those people are all piss and win." Oh, I was saying this the other day, that some people, and this goes back to something that I made a comment earlier on the Aloha Hour. I said that some people are not interested. Some of what we're trying to do is not doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to push. So having these, it sounds like we're always just saying the same thing over and over again, complaining about the same thing. So are we really creating? I'd rather discuss. Let's talk about what are some big steps. What are some big steps? And I think what we were just saying earlier is super important. It's about getting these things produced and out the door, so that we can say, look, this is what we did. Especially, and I'm going to point this to all of us who genuinely are of the minority ilk. If you're Latino in this group, if you're Black in this group, we need to do that all the more. We need to make sure that we are producing, and that we produce a good product, whether it's an art book or not, whether it's a comic book or not, whatever the project is. Tommy says, hearing Edwin is cool to my soul. Yeah, he is, man. He's cool. Tonight he was kind of weird. I don't know what was going on over there. Does Australian count? Sure, man, it counts. It counts. Just saying, it's when we talk, when we get our situation squared away, man, people are gonna be like, "Yo, what's going on?" But I suspect that the problem isn't going to go away, though. But whatever's going to happen, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's see. Ben says, I'm not trying to keep up with you, art heavyweights. I'm trying to pass you. We have to stay in our lane. Yeah. I agree, Ben. I agree, Caanan. And Ben. So I don't know who this guy is yet either. I don't know who any of these guys are. Chauncey Blakey says, Caanan White, I'm 37, trying to get beyond you and Ellie. However, I am below y'all. Watching y'all both doing y'all's thing so far, it's a true inspiration. Thank you. You're welcome, man. Right on. Tumbaklo says, sounds like Ben is using the carpool lane illegally. Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, Caanan, Ben, I'm going to bring you guys in. If you don't mind, I'm going to send you guys a little deal here. Hold on. And I can't tell if this is you or not. Is that you? That's not you. Oh, you can't hear our work. Okay, so Caanan's gonna jump on with me. Cool. Hold on a second, Caanan. This will be fun. Just you and I chatting with everybody in the chat too. Give me a second, Caanan. Let me get you lined up here. I'm just gonna new message. Dang, I can't. I'm messing up your name. It must be. I know I follow you. What's a happening? A hot stuff. Oh, gee whiz. Hold on. Hold on. And what's your, this must be you. I think it's you. Oh, this is not you. This is not you. Can't I need your help, man. I can't see the. Let's see. Sketch therapy. What's up, Papa? You still up? Yeah. I was supposed to be cooling down. So the clip of EBS being angry was nice to hear. After the Edwin has one clip out too, you could focus on product talk again on streams, as most has been then said on the pro drama. Cap White. That's it. All right, Cap White. Cap. There you are. See, all of a sudden, boom. How come it's not coming up under your name though? Oh, because you don't. It's not under your name. All right, cool. And then I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna do this. All right, because I need this fellowship, brother. If you can come on board with me, Dope-atronic. I appreciate it. Now where's the message thing here? And your thing's not coming up in my message. Okay. It says I'm following you. Getting to know you. Getting to know all about you. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, you know, sometimes I do feel like a noob and stuff. A total knucklehead. I can't figure this out. Wants me to tweet it to you, but I don't want to do that. No, I'm still trying to figure out how to do it, bro. Is this Red Rooster 2018? Hold on, man. Where is the message thing? It's like almost like you don't have a thing for message on here. I must be seeing it wrong. Do I have to put the @ symbol? No, it's not working, bro. I know, right, Ben? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wonder. Oh my goodness. I got your photos. I could tweet to you, but that won't be helpful. Ooh, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Na 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 na. Down. You can do it, says Matt. Listen, Ben, don't make fun of me, man. Shoot, I'm trying my hardest to stay to hang with my son. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, there you are. All right, how did I miss this, dude? How do I miss this? All right, there we go. Okay, close. Here we go. Okay. Got to figure this out because I don't see a place for to message you here. Man, that artwork on your Twitter banner is awesome. All right, where was I? All right.
What up? What up?
What's up, man? What is up?
Cool.
All right. So sketches. So yeah, Jackson 5, right? You don't know? I used to try to DM it to. I was trying. How did you find it for me? Did you see a place to message me?
Well, yeah, I just sent you a message. That was it, and then I figured it would open up, and then you could send the link. That's usually how they do it. So
yeah,
I don't know why you couldn't hit me though.
I could. I even put your name, the whole thing. I put caps underscore white or cap underscore white. Is that what it is? Is it caps?
Cap, yeah, cap.
Cap. Yeah, that's what I did.
Underscore white, yeah.
It wouldn't come up on my thing, but I'm following you. That's okay. Maybe you closed me out. It's okay.
I know. Silent.
Right on. So let's see. We got Chauncey. Let's say he's talking to Sketch. Ben Tambaco's talking to Ben. I hope you are feeling confident. The largest sketch I have coming from you. I want Ghost Rider, man. No stick figures. Yikes.
Yes. Oh, who are you drawing? You said you made this dude up.
Yeah, man. That's why I call this these sessions, they're like cool down sessions, epic doodles. I just like to draw something that comes to my head. You know, first it was going to be Batman. Then I was like, I don't want to draw Batman. I'm tired of giving those people my money. Time. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
I mean, if people are going to pay me to draw Batman, that's one thing. But if I'm gonna draw for fun, I don't. You know, I've drawn that guy 1,000 times.
No doubt.
Oh, look at that! I know that's good. Let me. I'm just to make sure I could do this. So how do I get your image to stay on the screen for a while? Present to everyone. There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got me, man. I haven't used Google Hangout much.
Yeah, I'm seeing, man. They call me a boomer, but the reality is I'm a non-user. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're 80s kids.
Guys, look at this art, man. It looks awesome. Look at that.
Thank you. This is a character for like I'm doing like several hundred different things, but this is something for a creator-owned thing. Me and a friend of mine are working. This is separate from IndieGoGo. This is something we started before I connected with Antonio, but
yeah,
it's kind of like a slow burn, man. If it becomes like a TV show or whatever, but it's a cowgirl. She's like a hunter / mystic gunslinger dude. I mean, it's her name is Vivian Smollett, and the story is basically the Vivian Smollett Chronicles. It just kind of covers her life, and we incorporated the movie monsters, but we flipped them so they all look like they have a Western feel.
Weird West. Yeah.
So
man,
I can zoom out so you can see some of the people that are in here. This guy right here, you got the werewolf. He's at the top.
Yeah.
And then you got and kind of what makes ours a little different is that we've incorporated the movie monsters and we've incorporated some of the urban legends. So like to the left here, creature that looks like a little imp thing. You ever heard of that? The legend of the black-eyed children. It's like something that it's like this weird thing that would happen with like kids and people say that they would appear as children, but they actually were like spirits, and they would have black eyes, like solid black eyes.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So people would see him and they're like, "What's going on?" So they're in here. Then we got off to the far left, the mummy and his princess.
Is that the right above that like ghoul?
Yep. Right here. Yep.
Yeah. I see it. Yeah.
I'll kind of circle them so you can kind of
under the Medusa.
Yeah, there's Medusa right there.
Okay.
And then let me go pick another thing.
Sick, bro.
So you got Medusa, the mummy. He's here. That's his bride. And then you got let me darken it so you can actually see more of everybody. Okay. This is a scarecrow right here. Think creepers.
In the foreground to the right?
With the look like pickaxe thingy.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Frankenstein, we call him Eli. There's a cool story behind him. You got vampires all here.
Wow.
Jersey Devil, but he's it's a kind of a different spin on it, man. It's really cool. A druid sorcerer guy here. This guy right here, he's called the Rat Master. You ever seen that movie Willard?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like him. This guy right here, his name is Mr. Grimm. He's basically like Mr. Hyde. And,
oh wow, great job, man.
Yeah, and then this is Vivian. You know, she has a team of people too, but she's the primary character, man. She's gunslinger, you know, slash, you know, kind of sorcerer chick. So yeah, it's different, man. It's the brainchild of the writer, man. We're kind of, you know, we both came up with the concept together, man. But we're building this world, man. But it's gonna be cool, man. Like once we're able to do something with it, it's gonna be for one, I love the fact that it is a black lead, you know, strong black lead character. And,
yeah.
You know, I always think, man, you know, given some of the, you know, the minority little girls, you know, cosplays to play, you know, because sometimes it's limited. So, but yeah, man. So I mean, that's pretty much it, man. It's
see, this is one of the things that frustrates me about the whole thing.
Go for it.
So, as an example, what you just said right there, I say the same thing. I have a daughter, and I want my daughter to to have heroes too.
Yeah.
And people, you know, and it's not that she can't look up to Captain America. She loves all that stuff too. My son is not so interested in that stuff. My daughter is.
Gotcha.
And but I've always said things like, so it's just messed up because now that I've decided, like, oh, I want to do something a little more responsible for my daughter.
Yeah.
I don't want her. I don't want everything to be over sexualized all the time.
Yeah.
But now it's a quote unquote, you know, SJW thing. And I'm like, well, no, it's not. It's just it's a respect thing, you know.
It is. I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's. I think some push it more than others. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the. I mean, and that's kind of like that's my stance as far as like, you know, if there was a way to, I guess you want to say, rationalizing, you know, minorities and why we're connected with, you know, Comics Gate. For one, and I told somebody, for one, I haven't experienced anything that they're talking about toward me.
Right.
And if I did, I'm out. You know what I mean? You already know that. I was like, I told somebody, I'm not a blind idiot. You know, I'm not like just going to like stand there and take the abuse. But Ethan, you know, is he perfect? No. You know, our you know, guy, you know, listen to John. I mean, John, you know, John is, you know, his personality, he's totally different from Ethan, you know, as far as personality.
Yeah.
That's not what unifies us. And that's what I love about it. I mean,
yeah,
like any corporate business, you're gonna have people at the top that may, you know, say things and like you said, Ethan owned up to, you know, some of the stuff early on, you know, may have been off collar, but that's why people grow. I mean, people learn, people grow, you get mature, you know, and honestly, man, you know, it's, you know, Comics Gate is a mixture of so many different people. You know, you got people that, you know, John's a fighter, you know.
Yeah.
Him and Nasser, man, you know, Nasser, they'll attack, you know, and Ethan has more like a sarcastic humor, so you know, he eggs it on. He's like that dude that's just like, you know, that kid is like, ooh, you know, pokes and pokes. But you know, to him, you know, he enjoys that. And then you got, like you said, Edwin, man, who's like the voice of reason.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Kind of like almost like the spiritual leader.
Yeah.
You know, then you got, Mike, who's more like the evangelical, you know, strong, you know, core belief, and you know, and then you got, you know, myself and you, who are, I believe, man, you know, we are probably closest as far as like spiritual mindset You learn about like the grace of God and things like that, and where
Right.
what the word says, and not judging people, and and so you got us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it work. The fact that like even in the midst of all the fighting, that's just basically what it is. Like folk throwing rocks back and forth.
Yeah.
That we maintain, for one, a level of professionalism, and two, um, everybody needs the individual to kind of be the one to be the calm, and not, and Edwin is that, but also the people that are in the field to be the calm, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I believe, man, like that's, myself, your role, man, to be like I talked to a really popular comic artist, and of course he doesn't believe in support things in Comicsgate, but
He does not.
he doesn't, no.
Okay.
But dude, we had such a cool conversation. Like it was like I was like, man, if we could, and then so I think some fans chimed in, and all this is on Twitter. So fans chimed in. One dude was just like aggressive. He just come out, and then the other dude came out aggressive in my defense, and then so, but it missed, me and that artist, dude. We like squashed it. It was like, well, hey man, I told him, I was like, dude, I've been, I said, oh, dude, you've been an inspiration for me art wise since early 2000s, and I told him, I was like, that hasn't changed. I was like, you still one of the baddest dudes in the world, and I was like, I'm still learning. And I'm still growing. Every time I see a picture that he posts, man, it's like a tutorial on how to do it. And I told him, I was like, man, and to me, I said, regardless of how you feel or how I feel, I can still be civil. I can still respect you as a professional. I can still honor the craft that you do. And to me, and that's what he said. He said, yeah, he said, just the fighting and the bickering and all that stuff. We granted I can't regulate how everybody else handles, and it kind of reminds me of back in the civil rights days where Martin Luther King would teach like like the peaceful protest, and he was still aggressive, but he taught it was more like peaceful protest. But then you had that next generation, man, that was kind of like the that kind of like was the birthplace of like the Panthers,
Right.
and he was like, I can't remember the guy's name. I'm talking about early '60s, man. But he was like, I appreciate, what Dr. King is doing. He's like, but I'm a fighter. He said, in my younger generation, we're tired of it, and so they revolted. They basically established a way. They were like, we need to, literally, we need to throw hands. Was it the right way? No, but not everybody processes stuff like I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can take it, deal with it, and like, you know what? Yeah, and talking to the guy who was aggressive on Twitter, I was like, rather than fighting, as in my goal is to try to understand and to listen and to hear what you're saying. And then from there, if I agree with it, whatever. If I never agree with you, I can still be civil.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, that's what America was built on, man. Like, if we're gonna talk about, America, like the fact that people don't agree. I mean, if everybody was robots, I mean, that, America would look a whole lot different. But it's the fact that we don't agree. It's the fact that we're a nation of multiple cultures and ideologies and stuff. That even in the midst of that, man, I mean, folk bring stuff to the table that I wouldn't bring, and and it makes you like okay, well maybe I can say it like this, like maybe I can, even if I don't agree, I can still say it in a way that's gonna be encouraging at the end. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And be like, okay, cool. That's I respect that, bro. I respect that. I mean, that's what you think. Cool. Let's go to lunch. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. Like, the stuff like, and Yeah, I told I was telling some people. I was actually talking to my wife about a lot of this stuff. And I said it's funny because I was like all the shade in the so-called bigotry and stuff that they're saying we've done. I think they're pulling from past experiences, or they're pulling from whatever that Gamergate thing was. I don't even know all of that, and I don't care to know. But and I was telling him, I was like, at least from my perspective, I ain't experienced none of that, Elliot, like at all. So, I don't know, I mean, and I say this, I say not to throw shade at us at all, but I'm also understanding that not everything, there's always some grain of truth to something, and Ethan's, he's admitted to saying things and routine, and he retracted a lot of stuff, and then, he said, but then you got people, as long as you got people, man, you're gonna have the zealots, you're gonna have people like the whole situation that went down where that dude was trying to adopt the name as his own little pet program, and and he was, for lack of a better term, he was racist, and he admitted it. So, but then on the other side you got extremists too. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's like, man, like you if you truly wanted to work, if you truly want to work together, I said this in a post, man. I said, man, we were all young kids wanting to draw comics. Let's get back to that. It's like when I grow up, I want to draw comics. I want to do this. I want to create pictures, to inspire people. Let's get back to that, man. And if I wanted to be a politician, man, I would join politics. I'm an artist, man. I'm staying in my lane. That's what I do.
No, that's an interesting point. I mean, I think there's room to have opinions.
Yeah.
But I think it's so easy to fall into self-destructive patterns.
Yeah.
And what I know I've done in the past, this is just me talking. I'm not talking about the comics gate. I'm not talking about anything.
Right.
By the way, Chauncey Blakey says in the future, Ben Jones, Elliot, and Caanan White. That's absolutely right. We got to get Ben when he's not working.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Ben also said that he loves that we're a mix. I agree with that as well.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I was going to say was that it's okay if we have opinions. The problem, to your point, it used to be that you could be civil, and it's just right now. And I think what's weird. Until I got involved, it was how I got involved was just watching the videos, and then I was like, man, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
Then I started realizing, oh my God, I don't even like Twitter.
I ain't never been on Twitter as much as I have these last few months.
I know, man. So anyway, but I mean, I get it though. So then I'm starting to realize then that you have to. It's not that we can't have an opinion. It's not that we don't. That I don't think that there's some valid arguments. I will say this though. Everybody starts off with something crazy in their lap.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something weird. And I think sometimes we fall into the trap too, because I've heard people accuse the leftists of echo chambers, but then sometimes I wonder, are we also guilty of the echo chamber? Because we're not really trying to reach out and understand it. The other day I made a comment. I said, have we ever tried to be reasonable with them? And it was like, no. And I said, well, okay. First of all, I understand with the crazy people, you can't reason with crazy people.
Yeah.
Not all those people are crazy.
No, they're not, man. And like I had a situation, man, where where somebody was supposed to do some color work for our book, and they bowed out, and we had to find somebody else. But the reason why they did is because it was a conflict of interest. It wasn't that he didn't like me. It wasn't that he didn't like the project, or even Antonio. It was just a conflict of interest. And so, like you said, there's a lot of people that have, they work at some of these companies. And so to join up doesn't necessarily, or to not join up doesn't necessarily mean they're against it as it is. I get it. It's safe. They're playing it safe.
Yeah.
and most of them ain't our age. You know, they haven't seen or been in it, as long as we have, or what I'm saying, seen the ups and downs and understand that it is truly a business kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like, well, no, I still want to get that shot at whatever, or I mean, heck, I wouldn't mind. I still wouldn't mind doing a maybe a short something for one of the big two. I mean, and that's kind of my thing, man. I'm not anti DC or Marvel. I mean, I said Superman is my favorite. I got the ring to prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Captain America is my favorite. So I got love for both sides. And I was listening to Art T. Bear, man. He was talking about. He said, Ben told me to choose a light source. Here's a light source, Ben. He said these, he said, I've been in comics for over 30 years. He's like, these are my friends.
Yeah.
And he said, I haven't changed. He said there's a lot of people that are, throwing shade his way, telling him, you might not, or you shouldn't join up this, that, or the other, man. And he's like, for me, he's like, I still, go to conventions and hang out and enjoy. He said, and I also hang out, enjoy hanging out with you guys on the streams and stuff. He said it's fun. He said we have a crazy time, man, just cracking up and honestly, man, it's like you also have to ask yourself, and I know they mentioned it a little bit in the streams today, how much of that is business politics as opposed to how they really feel. Because I believe, man, if you go to a convention, White Pistachio, he'll talk to you. I mean, they ain't thinking about Comics Gate, dude. They're thinking about, hey, fans coming up to the tables and chatting. And I mean, this is the time where we kick it and hang out. And I honestly, man, I believe that is truly the opinion. And so, but when your pocket sometimes is threatened, and they mention the whole Frank Cho thing, man. It's like, I think it was out of the fact that he was put on the spot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so his response was, well, let me pick what's going to keep the door open.
Right. Keep keep it kosher. So to speak. Yeah.
And so he said what he said, but he was ostracized for a long time for doing the exact opposite. I don't agree with overly sexualized women and all that stuff, but that was his thing. Still is his thing, at least from what I'm understanding. But when he did those covers and stuff, man, people were like, "Oh my gosh, you can't do that." And he was always all about being angry at the censorship and things that was coming his way. And so that I guess that's what's kind of blows me away. Like we aren't pushing an agenda to be anything other than artists. You know what I mean? And I guess it's kind of like a lot of the frustration that you see, in Comics Gate is actually a counter reaction.
Yes.
To a lot of the stuff, just like, dude, if you get berated every day, and I mean, and honestly, and I'm gonna play a different side of the coin. What if, as a person who's not of color, well, as a person of color, the words and the phrases that they used to call us, and some still do. Flip that. If you're called white supremacist all the time, if you're always called racist,
sure, right?
If you're always called a Nazi, if you're always called this over and over and over and over, like as soon as you turn on your Twitter feed, you got 7 different tweets like, oh yeah, you're this, that, and the other. It's like, man, you get tired of that. Like he's talking about Edwin tonight, man. I guess he was upset. I hadn't watched the stream, but he's kind of out of his normal mojo.
Yeah, notice.
Because it's just he's just frustrated. It's like, okay, I'm still human.
Yeah.
I still got feelings. I got a family. I was thinking about that situation that happened with the creators of Red Rooster, and can't not be able to go to a convention because of trying to people talking about they want to do harm. See, now you just pulled it into a whole nother category.
Right. And that's the thing that's crazy, man. Look, man, what boggles my mind is this is comic books, y'all.
Right.
This is comic books, funny books. They used to call it funny books.
Right.
I mean, the people that we're fighting about wear spandex over their pants and underwear. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. And see, and I think that's one of the issues that us as Comics Gate. Yeah, if I had to say what one of our primary, I guess, I'm trying to say, let's say goals or focuses is to, a lot of those views that those companies, that are actually in the world, as far as that political stuff, is making its way into the books, and it's starting to sway people's opinions, and to me that's wrong.
That's why I stopped collecting altogether. It's that and a couple other things. You said something earlier about working for Marvel. I tell people I don't want to work for Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
I don't have the desire for it anymore, and it's not because I don't appreciate those characters. I mean, I've drawn Batman enough. I don't need to draw Batman no more. But at the same time, it has more to do with the fact that because I'm trying to create a business, I'm more dedicated to this opportunity than some people think. I don't have a book out right now because like I said, this is a new. The option to do it is fresh for me. I put this away for a long time now, so I stopped thinking about comics altogether. And I was just trying to figure out a way to feed my family. So now that it's back in the forefront, now I'm thinking, okay, now I can do it, but I'm not prepared yet to put out something. I have a couple of concepts I'm working on.
Gotcha.
But when the time is right, But anyway, I'm gonna roll back a little bit to something you said earlier. One of the things that I agree with you. I think that I feel the same way. If I was being berated all the time with those kinds of comments, it would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, I totally get why that's why I was started off this little, I don't think it was a rant, but just me kind of just, what do you call it? Just kind of talking about it, because I was like, these guys have legitimate problems in this thing. So I get it. And that's why I was like, do I really fit there? Because I don't have that problem. My problem was a financial problem.
Right.
Could it be related to that? It might be. I don't know. No one's really addressed that with me directly.
Right.
But everyone that I've dealt with in the industry has treated me well.
Yeah.
They just couldn't, for a variety of reasons, they couldn't. Ben says it was a rant. It was a sort of a rant, I guess. It was more of like I'm being more pensive, man. I just want to make sure that I'm doing, the right thing, first of all, by these dudes that are going through it. Like you said, Caanan, that these cats, I keep reading Chauncey here. I want to read it again. He says, I've heard your concepts, your stories are gold. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Make it happen. Trust me, it's working. It's coming. I'm more inspired than I ever was, to be perfectly frank. But anyway, when I talk about this stuff, I'm like, I don't have that same kind of problem. So I don't want to be to the point where I'm kind of like creating, because like I'm listening to these conversations sometimes. I'm just like, I don't know what to say next, because I don't have all those problems.
Yeah.
But I appreciate where they're coming from, certainly. Just like you said, because I've gone through my own stuff in the past. I've had my own problems in that regard, and it is challenging, and for what it's worth. But I also know that that's not how we're going to win this.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing as a battle to win, and if this is one of the fronts,
Yeah.
it's going to be through. You mentioned Martin Luther King earlier. I believe that. I'm a big proponent of the idea of standing tall,
Yeah.
and not paying attention to the BS.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I know it's easy to do it because these guys are being assaulted, but no one's messaging me like that. And everybody keeps calling me the damn what's it called, the Bob Ross.
All right.
That's not my fault, man. My voice keeps dropping out. I used to be interesting. Anyway,
Like
but go ahead.
to that point, man, there was a like that same tweet, man. I think he tweeted for like an hour and he was like, okay, I gotta get off here. I was like, I don't even tweet that much. But the artist I was talking to, like I said, after we just kind of like absolved, the situation, an individual was going on about situations that in regards to some of the other members and the history they had with some of the other pros, and the other talking about some of the other pros that are with Comicsgate and their feud with some of the other pros, and the thing I was like, well, I was like, I was telling him, I was like, well, I'm talking about me. I was like, I don't know about all that history and what they went through and and so he's trying to send me all these links and different snapshots of tweets and all that stuff, and I was just like but I ended it where basically in a peaceful way of I was like, well, I appreciate you sharing your heart, man. I was like, I can tell you're a fighter and you're passionate about it. I was like, so keep fighting because both elements of the battle are necessary. Like somebody mentioned in the chat, you got people that fight behind the scenes and you got people that are on the front line.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I look at it like no, I haven't seen any blowback as far as not getting work or whatever. Like I said, I haven't really worked like truly really worked in the mainstream anyway. Most of my stuff has been indie, which I actually enjoy because I like the stories. But I haven't received any like blowback as far as like a lot of what they have as far as being blacklisted and stuff like that. Yet with that, I see the cause of why Comicsgate is what it is, and I think that to me is one of the things that speaks to me. The agenda-based stuff being crammed down your throat. And if you do have an opinion to not want to do that, you may run the risk of being called something or, assaulted or, Twitter or social media bullied or attacked or whatever. And so it's like the newbie coming in. It's like, man, I don't know what these individuals that have issues with Comicsgate are talking about. All I see the hate coming from is the other direction.
Right.
Hey.
Well, I think you make a great point, but even to what you said earlier, if I was on the other side and I was being, because I think it's clear that they've not hurt us.
No.
Someone made a good point tonight. It was on one of the wherever we were earlier tonight. I wasn't sure if it was the Aloha Hour or not that I was listening to it, but I might have been Art saying it. These cats they're not spending the time that I've spent listening to all the videos, and trust me, like there's been times I listened to, let's say, even my man Diversity in Comics, and I'm like, I love that guy. I love what he's saying, but sometimes how he delivers that it's not wise.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it boils down to. Are we trying to? I don't know. It's just such a simple solution to me. But you're right. Some of us have to be in the fray.
They have to. That is the nature, man, of people, and that's why I guess for me, I understand that. Like, yes, it would be awesome if we could do it a diplomatic way. But some people just like to fight, and it's like, and to the credit, man. And the more I listen to John Malin, man, I was like, man, that dude, man, he's he one of like the realest dudes on the in Comics Gate, man, because he he's very, very cognitive of the content that each and every one of us says. And he always is like, hey man, be careful, don't say this. Or he'll check people like, okay, you can't say that. It's like almost like the moderator, which is really cool because like I said, when they get, they get into the groove, man, they just start saying stuff, they, cutting up and cracking up and, a little vulgar and raunchy and stuff, and, make each other crack up. But even after all of that, you need that individual to be like, okay, that wasn't cool. You can't say it like that. And I've seen, at least in the streams I've been in, man, and the people that I've been, I haven't been on everybody's channel, but the ones that I kind of frequent, they're good at checking each other. Even Ethan, man, like it's like, okay,
yeah,
you can't kick people out the chat, stuff like that. Like people, people was trying to do, and he's like, dude, So, but again, nobody's perfect, and
right.
But you're right, man. I think the ultimate, like I said, the conversation I had today, man. I'm like, bro, that was epically awesome, and the way it ended was just like, he's like, hey, man, you do. He said, do whatever your heart tells you, do whatever you feel, man. And he's like, he said, I really appreciate the fact that you're a fan of my work, and I was like, dude, yeah, man. It's like, I'm learning, blah blah blah. He's like, well, it's like it's okay to disagree, but we basically, he's like, we can be civil and understanding of each other's position, and move on, man, and get back to what matters. We make comic books, man. We make good stories. We create art that inspires people. So I mean, that's pretty much like my stance, man. Like in the midst of all of this, even, and you kind of gotta, ration yourself on that type of stuff. Like certain people, like even today, man, I just unfollowed them just because it's like some people, man, it's like, is that your life? Like, do you just live on Twitter? And they're like, oh, hey man, like what else? Do you have a life? So like, certain things like that, man. It's just like, just shut that stuff off, man. And because it can become toxic. And you find yourself like, I noticed that even in mine with a short moment, man, I was responding in a positive way, to that artist I was telling you about.
Yeah.
We was just chatting, and then there was like one fan from my side, from Comics Gate side came in, and he was aggressive. And then the dude that was anti-Comics Gate came in, and he was aggressive. And it was just like, no, Ben does not suck as a writer.
I was waiting for that to jump in there. Do some work, Ben. Do some work. We'll still be here for a little while.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of like one of the things, like, like, whoa. And so finally, I asked him. I was like, "Why are you so angry?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Isn't that me?" He's like, no, I was just saying, I don't really like when, I hear like racial blah, 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 or if I heard this and that, and, I was just trying to talk about how the other guy, the other dude that was aggressive, he's like, how he was a hypocrite and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
He was like, well, yeah, I just think you should know. I'm like, dude, there's extremes on both sides. Ain't nobody all the way right.
That's right.
And so he was like, well, I'm just, he's throwing his points out, man. I was like I said, man, everybody's yelling and hollering on either side, and that's not the solution. I was like, the conversation me and the artist had said, we talked, we ended it, we squashed it, and we moved on. It wasn't even a beef or anything. When I say we squashed it, it just resolved.
Yeah.
We just agree to disagree. Cool. Let's make comics. Yeah.
I've seen your posts. I'm like, yeah, I like what you're saying, man. I definitely like what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like it's time out for that, dude. Like, it's like, man, life is short to be like bogged down with some political stuff.
Well, that's my point, man. Listen, one of the things that I know that I've experienced recently is just, one of the reasons why I have my heart problems wasn't because because of my diet, although that's affected my diabetes. And it wasn't I got shingles recently. I had a hard time doing anything because it was just painful. Yeah. But it wasn't because of something else. You know what they found out? It was all stress. Wow. So I'm saying, look, not only do I not want to do this like that, I can't do it. I don't want to be sick all the time because of an ideology. And now I'm not even that passionate about any specific ideology. I'm more interested in the bigger things in life. Like, for instance, if for those of you out there, if you align yourself at all with me as a believer in Christ, there's way more interesting and more important things to be fighting over than comic books. But I get the battle, though. I do get it. And it's not, I shouldn't oversimplify and say it's about comic books. It's become about comics, but it is what you said. It's also assault. They're assaulting each other with this stuff, with the names, and words do hurt, man. Words do hurt. And as much as we try to ignore it, all of us have a certain threshold, and sometimes that threshold is met, and then after that it becomes painful. Trust me, somebody here. So Tommy says here, he says DNC is rude at times. He's getting better as he learns why he has been sad about things, why he says wrong things. I hear he has his passion, and he does not sound a bad person. Doesn't sound like a bad person. I agree with that, Tommy. I don't think he's a bad person at all either.
Yeah,
I do think he's passionate, and I appreciate that. I appreciate passion. Trust me.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's killing us. It literally was killing me. Literally. And if you're not careful, I'm not saying that I was fighting over those type of things, but just in general, that's not listen, man. Before you go, no one's gonna say, man, this guy was great. He was a great comics gator. No one's gonna say that. Your family's not gonna care about that. They're gonna be like, yo, he's gone.
Yeah.
Or she's not here, or God forbid somebody gets shot over some nonsense like this. God forbid it, man.
And to that point, man. I'm and when I said I'm realizing my position with Comicsgate, like I said, it's what it's sparking a few things, but one of the things I think that it is giving us as creators, and especially like I think like myself, you being some of the minorities, and then even narrowing down myself and you, a platform like no other to show the complete opposite, man, of just the yes, you have those that fight and retaliate against, and rightfully so, when they, their names are slandered. I get it.
Yes.
Then we also retaliate with kindness.
Yes.
And like somebody responded to something I said, they were like, it's like, man, that's an awesome attitude you have. And it's just, I think it was a female. She was like, our guy, I can't remember which one, but they were like, that's awesome that you maintain that positivity. And because I posted, I was like, anything coming from my Twitter is going to be nothing but positivity and good vibes. And so they're like, wow. I was like, I appreciate that's a good attitude to have. And like, you're a good man. I appreciate. I was like, because I told him, I said, getting angry and being angry makes you old. It ages you. I was like,
right.
Life is short, man, and we're like the Bible says, man, your life is like a vapor.
Yes.
Here and it's gone.
Yes.
I was like being stuck. He said, Ben Jones. You skipped my question.
What happened?
What was his question?
What was the question? Let me read back. Let's see.
Is it about Ben being a good writer? I answered it.
Yeah, he answered.
If that was the question, I said Ben is an excellent writer.
Yeah, we're good.
He's not stuck as a writer. He's a good writer. If that was the question, hopefully it was. No, but yeah, I mean, and you're right, man. Like it's, and I think right now, man, it's just it's so charged. Right now, like again, it's a daily that they're assaulting, EVS and Elliot and John, and personally pointing out those individuals. Yeah. So it's like, you talking about Joe Quesada, dude. I'm like, dude, this is like Joe, but this is like the CEO of freaking, Marvel Comic chief editor, man. Like, pointing out, name dropping, individuals like that. It's like, and that to me, man, that's messy. Man, that's messy, and I'm surprised that it's being allowed to kind of happen when it, like you think about the places you worked, man. If that he said, she said stuff went on, you'd be fired. Like, I mean, that's no doubt.
What's fascinating to me, and this is, again, I don't want to. This is where I could totally appreciate what they're saying, right. But I get caught up in it sometimes. I'm like, okay, but I got to learn. Still, it's again, we're not blind to what's going on. That's really what we're saying too. We're not blind to the foolishness. It's just we're just calling it foolishness and then moving on. I was thinking about like how in every place that I've worked. Well, first I was in the military, and then I got out of the military. Every single place I've worked, upper management has never been involved in those type of things. Never. They usually don't even know about what's going on. It's always like a secondary thing. When they find out, they expect the middle management or whatever to handle it.
Yep.
So I was very surprised at that. And to be honest, I lost a little respect for that dude, because I mean, I appreciate that guy for his contributions to my childhood, if you will.
Yeah.
But that was kind of weird, man. But see, what's going on is that look what's happened. It's like, again, because I do think that this has to do a lot with the fact that the numbers are going to be coming out soon.
Yeah, I keep hearing people say that too.
Well, it's listen, man. When everybody talks whatever they want to talk until their pocket gets hit.
Yeah.
So let's see. Ben says I want to write a story based on the characters Elliot is drawing right now. Oh, cool, man. Yeah. So it's one of those things where you again, I get it, but to your point, man, I really want to be an agent of peace. Yeah. Not because I'm a pacifist, not by any stretch. Trust me. If going back to diversity, if someone had threatened my children,
oh, dude,
forget it, bro. Yeah. Forget it.
It's a whole different territory.
Yeah. So I mean, I get that, but until that happens, somebody, as long as we're still sober minded in terms of not falling into anger and that kind of hostility, we got to maintain that, because that's what they want, is for us to shift, to pivot, to kind of like, oh, oops, stumble, and then the next thing you know, oh, you see, I knew it.
Well, see, what'll happen is that once, like I said, if that frustration and if that frustration and all that stuff takes its, if it's fed, I should say, and what happens, it leads to infighting, and then okay, well maybe this is, then this happens and this happens, and all of a sudden, it's that whole eating it up from the inside out. And I think that's one of them things where, like you said, playing into the hand of individuals, those individuals, that's what they want. Infighting, frustration, and it's bully moves. Like, it's the whole thing. Like, man, if I just crack on them long enough, maybe they'll change. No, it's like you get the adverse effect. You corner a tiger, man. What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
and so I think, man, that's what. And honestly, man, I don't even think it's I mean, you think about it, yeah, Elliot. You have we have in Comics Gate three of the probably top artists in the game. Albert or Art, Ethan, Art, Ethan, and Mike. You know what I mean? Like, combined have been over what, probably 50 some odd years of experience.
Yeah, more than that.
Have been crazy published.
Yeah.
All of them have worked in Marvel and DC. Freaking amazingly talented to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike is so fast, dude. We had that drawing contest, man. I was like, that Mike.
Yeah.
He put the shingles on Captain America's. It's like,
yeah,
dude. But
I hate him.
But to think, man, like that's the talent that it's almost like I keep liking it to Image. They were nervous when Rob and McFarlane and those guys left. Like they're like, oh man. And had they had the business knowledge that they later acquired, Image would have been easily probably like it would have been like the big three mindset and stayed that way. And that's kind of the difference, man, with a lot of the Comics Gate artists. They do have the business knowledge, and so that kind of makes them dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially when you got 1,000 people every stream, tuning in, to watch you just crack up and hang out. That's a fan base, dude. That's like, people, and I told, DC released this little spiel talking about how, their goal was to, like, they shifted the direction of DC Entertainment so they can be closer to the fans and truly get the pulse of what the fans want. And I was like, man, that's what we were doing. It's like, so it's almost like that thing where they don't want to admit that it works, but they can't help but notice the results. Like, man, okay, well, maybe we have been disconnected from the fan base. Well, maybe, and so I really believe that's one of the reasons why all of these artists started hopping on Twitter. Okay, we want to get our fan base. We want to get to know the fans. We want to try to pull them back and get them back to where they were, because in essence, they did lose a lot of people. Marvel was infamous for having events, Civil War, and then Secret Wars, and then
A versus X.
So it's like just when you got familiar with somebody, and somebody else was gone, and it's just like, what? And then DC, they, that whole New 52, not until Jeff Johns took over and fixed everything, it was horrible. And so, they lost a lot of, they gained a lot of people, but then they lost really the people that pay for the comics. It ain't the high school kids, the high school kids' parents that usually buys the comics for them, once they got a job. But, and so, I mean, I think, man, a lot of that is just, like you mentioned the numbers and stuff, it almost like demanded them to say something, but in turn, speaking out without truly understanding what it is.
Well, and that goes back to what you just said about, well, and that is what you're saying, being out of touch.
Yeah.
And, I hate to say it, man, but things are gonna have to hemorrhage before people start realizing there's a sickness, and then this is the nature of how it is. I think some of these people have been so used to having it set up the way that it is set up, and Diamond, I think, has been a poisonous element to this industry, more so than they want to admit. But they can't see, like, this is like when we were talking earlier. I don't know if Sketch is still in the chat, but we were talking about how I think Mike brought up the idea of how to help the comic shops, and I'm like, my first thought was, you can't help the comic shops if those people can't, like they were suggesting, doing basically like a protest, like a sit-in type of deal where they're going to demand, how are they going to demand that? Their whole bread and butter is in Diamond and Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
So
to sit out would be counterproductive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's going to hurt them. And some of them are never going to recover from that.
Yeah.
I've talked to some retailers, and they're always telling me how they're like on the verge of destruction every week, just with their diamond bills. And so we got to be more thoughtful than that. I don't know. That sounds like that sounds very romantic, but how does that, and by romantic I mean like sounds like a great movie. How
my mom always said, it sounds good on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds great on paper, but how are we going to pull that off? So really, that's why, because Mike was suggesting, well, what about we sound like we're abandoning the comic shops. I'm not necessarily abandoning them. You know what I'd like to see? I like the idea of Alterna. I just think that in order to do Alterna, I would have to, and this is something I'm actually thinking about. I don't actually like a lot of modern computer coloring. I miss the old days when it was just flats. So I actually I'm thinking about my projects being done flat, so that I can produce them, do the nice special edition version, and then also be able to pull it off with a company like Alterna and try to because I like that guy, Peter. It's a shame what happened to him, how he fell into all that mess.
Yeah, man.
So why am I sound like I'm going through puberty.
Not cracking every 5 minutes, you're
good. Excuse me. Excuse me. Anyway, so I would just like to help them, but it's not for everybody. I'm just saying that's appealing to me because it fits into the philosophy that I have for my other product and my other brands, where I'm trying to develop stuff at better price points, because I think that's important too. But as long as you have a collector's market that's willing to spend money on the more expensive product, I think that's fine. I think we just need to be prepared to pivot when the time comes, because I don't, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a bunch of people like, yo, where are we going to get our books from? But they're still going to be longing for Spider-Man. They may not go for my character right away. It's going to take time.
I mean, like I said, that's what they did with their own image stuff. I mean, nobody knew about Brigade and Stormwatch and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is this? It's like, it's not Superman. This is not Spider-Man and Avengers. Who was Wetworks?
Yeah.
Nobody cared, because they didn't have to. Nobody knew what it was, but
I wonder if, though, looking at that, though, I wonder if some of that was because they had these big names attached to it.
That too.
They
had already established themselves in Marvel and DC.
And that's why I'm always impressed with Ethan. Ethan, he brought his industry weight with him.
Yeah.
And again, I cannot say enough good about what Ethan has. The fact that he's willing to talk with a knucklehead like me is impressive. I appreciate that. Yeah. He didn't have to invite me into that thing, and he didn't know who I was. And Antonio talked to him and encouraged him to speak with me, and along with some others.
Right.
But again, I appreciate that. He's willing to do that. That said, we still have that fight to fight. Those of us who are not as established as he is.
Yeah.
So, I see Ben says here, I think it's time for the industry to change. I don't think it's dying, but it's in a nebulous state when it's time to become something new based on the old. But everyone knew who Jim Lee and Liefeld were. Yeah, that's what I just said. I don't know. I think it's morphing in a different way than that. I think it's gonna, I don't know.
I honestly think, man, that the mainstream may be phasing out.
I think so.
Indie is becoming the new mainstream, because you could tell so many different stories. Like, you're not pigeonholed, I don't think, in certain characters will be indelible. I mean, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. They'll be around.
Here's what I found on the website. Certain means certain characters will be indelible means.
Siri.
Oh, Siri.
But they'll be around for a while. But I think, and you see that with a lot of mainstream creators and writers doing a lot of these indie books, and I think it's not. I don't think it's just in like comics is like, of course that's our arena, but I think cinema already went that way.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
With the whole, like, you see people like Keanu Reeves in some film festival type show, like, why is he in this $60,000 budget one camera in the room the whole time movie? It's because there's creativity, and it's fresh, it's different, it's new, it's something inspiring, man. It's something unique, and that's why I think, man, like, comics are going toward not just mainstream being, and I think they've said it too. Some of our fellow comics gators. It's presenting other options. Because Image is still indie, but not as much as it used to be. It is, but it's still. It's almost like when you have that private school that's still funded by public school money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel. Where Image is. I always, to me, man, like in the early '90s, where you had Wildstorm, and they were taking properties like God of War and things like that, and making them into books, and Halo and all that stuff. I mean, to me, that was awesome. And like, it was just, there were no limits to like stories, and so with all these new companies coming out, you got like Aftershock, company, and you got Michael Bay's 418 or 405 company, and you got
Was that Michael Bay's?
Yeah.
Oh, I almost did work for those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They contacted me, but I had already decided I didn't want to do it anymore. Okay. They couldn't afford. They were really low pay too.
Yeah, I think if I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other things that's one of the things, man, that kind of set Comicsgate kind of apart from a lot of the other companies, is the fact that, like you mentioned, Ethan using his professional weight, man, to raise insane amount of cash for a project that you create. I mean, that most people who do comics wouldn't make in a year or two or whatever. That kind of puts Comicsgate kind of in a different category too. But I think, man, I mean, it's a low haul, man. I mean, it's definitely not like oh man, it'll be, all we got to do is, and if you just blah 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 blah. I mean, there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of anger on both sides.
Yeah.
There's a lot of frustration. There's pressure from the executives, which I still believe that's why you got people like Posada and these guys coming out and saying stuff. And honestly, man, it's like, are you willing to just hang in there? Because it's, some people may not be, others are. And like I said, it's not like there's a lot of us, but the fact that we're, and when I say this, I'm not by any means comparing Comicsgate to Jesus, so I was, I'm not, but
I get you.
How 12 people,
the
whole nation shook.
Yeah.
Kind of like, they're like, who are these people, to the point where they had people try to infiltrate and catch him in lies and see if he was working on the Sabbath and doing all this crazy stuff.
Right, right.
Jesus being as bad as he was, he knew how to address it. So that was a little, different scenario. But it's kind of like just these handful of people. But the handful of people are powerful people.
Yes.
Like Doug, the creator of doggone Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, what? Other art, Richard C. Meyer, Chuck Dixon, like these are like writers that are like renowned, in the comic industry. That some of the, people from, Marvel DC grew up listening to and learning from. And so, it's kind of like, I think that's what alarms some of the people, but then, I mean, you gotta understand, Disney's got deep pockets. You know what I mean? So, there was someone I was talking about, maybe Disney was in trouble, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sales may be messed up, whatever, for Marvel, whatever. But at the end of the day, bro, this is Disney. They own the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, money is not necessary. I'm sure that's not an issue, as far as being able to garnish. It's like, okay, you may not make that in this sale. Okay, wait till, somebody mentioned on the stream, like, wait till Frozen 2 comes out. We'll get all that back. Kind of thing. I mean, they have so many properties. And thanks, Chauncey, man. You gotta trailblaze, man. It's gotta be the exception to the rule. But yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of my view, man. So I mean, it's almost like a mission within a mission.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does.
I know the overall focus, and I am 100% understand that, and I'm for what they're what we're doing, and in that aspect. But at the same time, you said you have different soldiers and different ways to fight, and my way of fighting, man, is to speak with my heart. And I do like what Ethan said, and I get what he's saying now. That's why it's just so important that the things that we do create, we put out there.
Yep.
And I know that's why he's so selective as far as the individual that he lets in Comicsgate. The art, your art got to be a certain level.
Yeah.
And not like super, not, I mean, because I'm still working on stuff, but
yeah, me too.
Been, our level, I mean, we've been out there. I mean, it's like it's polished enough to be like, hey, I would buy that, kind of thing. I think sometimes people come with a look and feel that it looks local or it looks okay, like amateur, and you mean well, but it's like, okay, the overall picture, man, it's like the art, everything has to be, from getting books into people's hands, to the art quality itself. Like if you took a book, your red, black and red book, and set it next to, Adam Hughes's book, it's like it should be able to hold its own.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's the goal. That will it hold its own? I don't know, because I think part of the challenge that we have, and this is why I think people were asking, I think I heard Edwin say, why are people still shopping with these guys? Because these guys grew up with this stuff, man. This is where they come from. So I always, one of the reasons why I've been, adjusting my approach is because I realized that, in the convention, and I'm now strictly speaking the conventions, I started to notice that it was getting tougher and tougher to make money when those same artists are right down the road from you, right? So, and sometimes your art looks just as strong, but it's Jim Lee.
Alvin Lee or somebody like that.
Yeah, it could be anybody because they have a name. So that's why it's so, to your point, that's why it's still so important to get these books published and get them out there, because what my business partner calls it, we call it a pedigree. these guys have a pedigree.
Yeah, they do.
And so does Ethan. He has a pedigree. That's what he's enjoying some success from, is that he's got the background, and he would call it, his dues he'd pay or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reality is that he's going to be okay for a while.
Yeah.
We need to publish these things. Like for me, it's just an art book right now, but this is just for me to learn how to do a campaign, how to handle it, and then go from there. Yeah. Once I get that going, it won't matter. I will tell you this, to add to everything you've been saying. There's a book I bought a long time ago called How to Make Web Comics. And in that book, the writers of that book were these four cats that were producing web strips.
Okay.
And I'll send you a link to it on Amazon. Actually, if you buy it from the guy itself, he has a special, the next edition of it, which includes the convention, like a discussion on conventions, which is fascinating. But anyway, what was interesting about it was they were having the same exact challenge, they even had, like, they used to have a podcast called Web Comics Weekly, and they had the exact same situation, but they got hardcore. Like they were having like live debates with the people.
Right, and bringing people in.
Yeah. No, it was really super insightful. So what happened was they were going through the exact same thing. The newspaper industry was falling apart, and because to Ben's point, the comic business may not go away necessarily, but I don't think it's going to look anything like what we see it today.
Yeah,
I suspect that the casualties are going to be these local comic shops. I really do think that. Yeah. But anyway, what they did was they followed you know what? In fact, on Amazon, I bought it, but you can rent it. There's a documentary called Stripped. It's by one of the authors.
Okay.
Super. You got to watch that thing, dude. You've got to watch it. It's really important. And in the end of the book, or by the end of the book, what they focus on is it's about building your audience. And believe it or not, it's about crafting the opportunity to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
So that's really important, to get your fans to not only buy your material, but also fall in love with it so much that they want to support everything. Like right now, I'm wearing a Batman t-shirt because I love Batman.
Right.
So, although I should spit at it right now, but no, I'm not going to spit my Batman. I like my Batman shirt, but I'm just saying that, like Gene Simmons says, this is the competition.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the competition shirt. I need to be wearing my shirt, right? That kind of mentality. Well, anyway, what they do in this discussion is they publish their books and they get them sold, much like what we're talking about doing through crowdfunding or whatever. Somebody says I'm going to be in demand as a cover artist. From your mouth to God's ears, bro. I'll tell you, I would love to do that. But anyway, and then what they do is they sell like posters and T-shirts, and they sell hardcover editions of their books. And then they'll do like a special signed and a special sketch version, just like what you guys are doing right now so far.
Right.
Also do like towels and prints and posters and plushies. That's where you start to really control your brand. Good. That's no pun intended. I know you guys are working on brand.
Hey, baby.
By the way, you guys, whoever's listening in on this thing, if you guys haven't done it yet, you should consider going to IndieGoGo and look up The Brand, Antonio Bryce and Caanan White. It's a really awesome, the book. If you look at this work that Caanan's doing, it looks fantastic. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for a little bit here.
Thank you.
People can see what you're doing. I have a very modest crew, but they're super loyal.
Right. That's what's all that matters, man.
Yeah.
Loyal ones.
So definitely check it out on IndieGoGo and support it. They've met their goal, but there's nothing wrong with doing better. So if you guys want to be part of that, if you haven't already, please do.
There's like 7 days left or something like 6.
Ben Jones, who's in the chat, my man, he's got a IndieGoGo also. Well, you have 7 days left on yours?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Ben Jones just started his IndieGoGo with Asgard.
Yes.
And also super, super dope looking. You guys are going to enjoy that. Check it out. Support my man. And if you don't mind, there's a little art book called Black and Red. Give it a spin, what have you. Check it out. Tell me what you think.
As well.
Yeah. And if you like it, support it. If you don't like it, don't support it. Don't. That's another thing. People are talking crazy. Like I'm already backed every project. Like, well, go ahead. Don't back every project.
Twice.
Yeah. Chill out. Relax. But put your money on the ones that you love, because that's at the end of the day, I'm still a free market person. I still believe that I want you to like my work, and I want you to buy my work if you like my work, if you love my work.
Yeah.
If you don't like my work, don't get it, because then I don't want any false pretense here.
Yeah.
But anyway,
compelled to actually have to get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to send you at least the link to that book. But if you can watch that video, man, that documentary was amazing. It's called Stripped. And it sounded weird at first, like, what is this going to be, like porn or something?
Right.
But it wasn't. It's a very endearing discussion about the art form of the comic strip, and then you're going to see direct parallels to everything that's going on right now with what we're discussing. Really? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, shows how long or how it's a reoccurring issue when certain companies get to a certain level.
Well, it's just kind of where it's at, man. You know, it's so it says, Chauncey says he's already backed Brand.
Oh, tell him appreciate it. Right
on. He hears you. Tommy says, in Europe, we do not have strong history for floppies. Bigger books work well. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So that's another thing too. The market is different in overseas. So I'm trying to figure that out now, because and by the way, for some of you, we've posted that in our campaign, but if some people are asking about ordering stuff overseas and we didn't list it in our campaign, so we're still trying to figure out how to do that right. But if you're interested in it, contact us and we'll set you up with something we can ship out to you guys. We'll just have to figure out shipping separately.
Graphic novels anyway, like collected editions as opposed to issues.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing a graphic novel essentially, right? That's what the brand is.
Page, yep. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be dope. Yeah, I could only get the PDF, and I'm kicking myself because I really wanted the book, but again, my family got to eat. We got to eat first.
It's okay, man. It's okay. It'll see. That's the thing too, man. You don't want to be too detailed, but now stuff is digital. Folks zoom in and see your mistakes.
That's what I was going to do.
Right.
I'm gonna check it all out now.
You have a balance, but yeah, man, I definitely want to check that video out, man. It's I mean, and I don't think, man, there's one solution to this. I think it's, again, like you mentioned before, just putting out good content. And once people see, the what more so, us as artists are able to do, and that there are stories still to be written. There are still creative worlds to be established. There are still ideas to be developed. That everything hasn't been done yet. There's complements to, I won't say alternatives, because I still believe that the mainstream characters have a place. But with them, there's also room for other worlds. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dark Horse was so popular in the day.
Yeah.
It was different, Dark Horse, and then you had, why people like IDW, and I call it the big three now, man, because Valiant is fastly and quickly becoming an easy rival.
That's a great point, man. And you know what I haven't heard, man? I haven't heard anybody talk. Everybody talks about how IDW is falling apart and how Marvel's struggling, but I have yet to hear anybody talk about the condition of Valiant, and they must be doing well because nobody talks about them.
Honestly, man, it's like, that is, if there was a place I'd want to work, it's there. Like if there was a place that would, that I would, if I wanted to do like comic work, man, it would be Valiant. Their characters are obscure enough. They're starting to become more mainstream, but they're still obscure enough that you can have the liberty to kind of put sort of your stamp on it, man. And
I can definitely see your stuff over there. You have a very Valiant-oriented aesthetic to your work.
Appreciate it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be my dream. That would be my dream job. That or work with the guys from work with the guys that are working on that Earth M. Because it's kind of, let's see, it's the guys that used to be with Milestone.
Oh, okay.
Icon Man and Hardware, Static Shock, those guys. And they're creating Earth. I guess it's Earth M, which is.
Is it through DC or their own thing? It's their own thing, right?
Scenario. It's almost like how Watchmen used to be before they incorporated it into the DCU. They kind of have their own verse, Earth M, so they're not kind of tied into a lot of what DC has. So they don't have to worry about some of the crossovers and Dark Knight's Metal, Fallout, and all that stuff. They can kind of create their own conflicts and baddies and all that stuff. So yeah, Valiant definitely. I mean that's still like I'd love to do like Harbinger or the Divinity character or even Bloodshot. I think Bloodshot's probably my favorite character.
I I used to on a couple of occasions I've been able to just. I think I went to dinner one time with a group and I was hanging out with Louis LaRosa.
Oh man, that dude is a beast.
He's a monster. And man, he is something else. I'll tell you what, I was just gushing, but I try not to. I was like, nah, man, we're cool, whatever, I don't care. But I'm like, oh my goodness, he looks so good. It's art, not him,
Him and then the other guy, Mikos Saijin.
Oh yeah.
Man, dude. I think he does Marvels. He's doing Marvel and DC stuff now. He's been posting about it. But yeah, honestly, man, his covers really shine with the Valiant characters. It's just something about them, man. Like I said, there's enough. They're cool enough to look sort of mainstream, but they're obscure enough to still give you that indie feel.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about indie. I'll tell you what, man, DC for a while was kind of like indie to me. When I first got into DC hardcore, of course, I was into the Super Friends and I was into the Justice League and all that kind of jazz. But I really didn't get into it until I read, for the first time, I read Brubaker on Gotham Central. And then I picked up Jeff Johns on Hawkman.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa. And then to top it all off, I fell in love with a young artist named Olivier Coipel on Legion Lost. And I was like, what is Legion Lost? Who are these characters? This is amazing. And man, I fell in love. And then I was like, it was so cool to encounter something, because I had been reading Marvel for so long that I stopped living in that state of wonder where I could appreciate these characters.
Right.
So DC kind of gave me that with those characters. Now, that's one of the things I love about indie books is I've been excited about the prospect of even doing indie books, because I love the idea of something being homegrown, like it came from somebody's heart versus somebody's factory.
Yeah.
So that's one of the downsides to what's going on with Marvel and DC, is that I don't have that passion for it anymore in that way.
Yeah.
I still love the characters. Like, to me, they're still like the Justice League is still the modern day myths, but but it's just not the same as far as reading them anymore. So I've kind of moved on, but I still follow certain artists though.
Yep.
Like if Olivia's doing something, I'm buying his stuff. If
that's another one.
Yeah, he's another beast.
He is probably the best to me. Maybe it's just my opinion.
Yeah,
he's probably one of the best panel artists to take a whole bunch of stuff, put it on one page, man, but still make it coherent and comprehensive so you can tell what's going on. His work, like I literally have a reference PDF of his stuff that I just look at and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how he did that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bought these pens because I'm also a big fan of J. Scott Campbell and him. And I see these guys using the pens. I'm like, oh man, that's why I started using pens. I was like, I want to figure out. I still haven't figured it out.
That's awesome.
But that's
Copics too.
Huh?
You use Copics too.
I don't like using Copics.
Really?
I prefer watercolor, to be honest.
Okay.
But at the same time, I know and I get that Copics are more efficient. So I just can't afford to buy a whole new batch of them because they're expensive.
Yeah, they got like kind of off brands that do exactly the same thing.
I tried the is it Shinhan Art? I tried those, the touch markers. Those were not quite the same. Which ones do you use?
I have a.
Come on, write that down right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the. Give me a second. I got to pull one out because it is. I don't know if they may sell them there or not. But the ones I have are called. The whole title is actually. Is it The Art of Painting Pen? But the brand is Conda, Conda. They have a weird shape to them. The markers do. They have a fat end and a thin end. Sort of two-sided, of course, like Copics.
I'm gonna check that out.
But yeah, they're acid-based too, or acid-based, alcohol-based.
Alcohol. Yeah. They have a nice tip and everything like Copics.
Half to way less, and you get more in the batch too. I don't think they're replaceable though. But
all right, you just messed me up. Now I have to go find those. That's what I spend money on now is art supplies. I don't even worry about comics as much.
Yeah, man, because you're making them.
Yeah. Well, I remember talking to a bunch of these artists that used to live here in the Tampa Bay area, and I would ask them, hey, are you collecting this? Or what are you reading now? And they every single one I would talk to, about out of maybe there were like 3 or 4 of them. Like, I don't read comics anymore. Like, what? And they don't read because they were like, I don't want to get anything from somebody else and it creeps into my work. And I was like, well, and some people are just like, it's just a job for me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, it's interesting.
I mean, I can concur, man. Like some of the series that I've done, man, to this day I haven't read them. I've read bits and pieces just because I was working on the script or whatever, but certain I haven't sat down and actually as a reader and read comics probably 6 months or so, because when I do look at them, they're digital, so I find like there's a website where it allows you to either download them in like a CBS form or a CBR form.
Yeah.
You can just read them online. Yeah. The latest releases and stuff. So that's how I usually end up looking at comics, man, as opposed to like going to the shop and dropping cash like that. And I'm like, because if I don't like it, if the art don't look good, I'm out $2, $3. I could have just got online and looked at it, man, and be like, oh, that's cool. But yeah. So
let's see. Chauncey saying, when are y'all gonna say what's on the screen? What are you trying to say?
Are you saying we ignoring you, man?
Let's see. Okay, so Chauncey says, Caanan White, I know, man. January, I can't wait as long as you're feeling you're putting your best in.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about this too, is everybody has to understand that this is going to be a slower process to get the book out. I mean, I know that you got it launched, right? So now it's funded, and now you guys are waiting because you got to pay the bills too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the benefit to doing it for the creator. Now the challenge is for the customer to be patient.
Yeah,
but it's going to be worth your wait, to be sure. It's going to be definitely worth your wait.
I can show you some. I got to redraw it, but this was the initial drawing for that Covenant. They're called the Covenant. It's a group from Brand that David Craven has to fight against. So, Chauncey, you'll get to see. You're getting an exclusive, buddy.
Uh-oh.
They're not going to look like this in the end. but you'll get to see at least a little bit of what they'll look like. The faces will be the same. I just gotta change their outfits, but
Bro, that looks so good, man. Look at that. I love your double lighting approach.
thank you.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Wow. He looks great. Look at that. I have a bigger version of it on on YouTube. I'm like, wow, look at that. Who's that guy in the bottom? Who's the guy with the book?
This guy at the bottom is Tobias is his name. He is Lionel, this guy, his kind of mentor, guardian / yeah, you're right, Tommy. Yeah, that's a Brands Road Gallery, one of them. I guess his primary. But and Tony wanted me to make sure I made him look like Goldberg.
Oh, he looks awesome.
Yeah, and she is one of the twins. Her sister is over here. But yeah, I did all this work, and my writer for neglected to tell me that they all needed to be in suits. So I have to redraw it.
Wow.
But it's all good. That's the good thing about being able to take the time and do your own thing. So
Oof, that looks really good.
You're gonna get the best.
Ben says, I need Elliot to send me a scan of some pencils to ink. I don't have a lot of pencils, man.
You know, I thought you would.
I don't. I mostly ink everything, but I have to look. Maybe I do have some pencils somewhere.
He got pencils. He's the one to give them to you, Ben.
I'll scan these. I'll scan this page or something. Let's see. So someone was talking about the different books that they got into when we talked about the old books. Somebody talked about the Judas Contract by that's the Teen Titans, George Perez. And they said Tommy says the Teen Titans gave him the feeling of the old X-Men. Yeah. I tell you what, man. So after I got into that, I started to explore other type of books, and now I focus a lot on. I still focus on the artists from time to time, but I'm always excited to check out new things. So one of the things I've been paying a lot of attention to is the anime and manga.
Ooh.
That's I really think that's gonna be. There's something to that. That's why I've been doing those mini mangers. That has been selling really well at the conventions because it's a whole other type of product.
People love chibi stuff.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, it's the thing is, it's because I enjoy it too. It's like I have my own little collection of nonsense. That everybody collects. It seems like everybody collects pops and stuff like that.
Right.
It's the same mentality. So that was one of the things that I tried to do different, was to create something that would draw the attention, especially of young women.
Yeah.
Because I worked for a company. They did some demographic studies, and a very important customer that everybody keeps missing, because we specialize in the male power fantasies. But after the guy is done buying his art from Adam Hughes and doesn't want to buy anything from me, there's still those ladies who are like, "Oh, that looks so cute," and that's all you hear. It's all you hear for hours and hours.
Yep.
Chauncey says, "All respect for both of y'all's work. As far as the screen, I was talking about that lady Caanan is drawing. Also, the headshot you've got going on, Elliot. Oh, right on. Well, this is just for me, this is just a character. I was goofing around with it earlier. It's not a specific character. It's just, it's got a little bit of a Gacha Man influence to it. I think I over-rendered it. It's too much garbage in there, but
I like it though. It almost reminds me of like a little bit more detailed version of the Living Ray.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Kind of helmet's a little similar.
Yeah. Who was another one that inspired me too was Joe Madureira. He had a big impact on me later. Yeah, that's why a lot of my characters have the big jaws and that sort of thing. I think that's where it comes from. So sometimes I kind of blend Madureira and John Buscema. A little splash of Kirby.
Yes.
Ben says, no such. This is over-rendering.
He said, No such
Oh,
thing as over render. Oh yeah.
no such thing as over rendering. I get it. Now I do over render. You know who I really dig, man? I don't know if you like him or not. I love the simpler artists too. I love Chris Somney, for example. He's man, and I did a video today on my channel about John Buscema,
Okay.
and you know what Somney does in spades is he handles negative space and spotting of blacks so masterfully.
Mm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Chauncey says, "Don't ever say your work is garbage." Listen, I made it. I could call it garbage. Alika says, "Yeah, Joe Matt was God to me. I was a kid. You know, he really was never God." Alika, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. I know what you mean.
He was highly influenced.
Yeah. No, I know what he means. I know what he means. I just mess with him.
I think like recently, actually, a friend of mine kind of got me connected to Alan Davis.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, man, like I love like his confidence as far as where to spot the blacks and where to leave it white and things like that. Helped me, like I'm talking like probably within the last year, how to even when you feel something with detail, still knowing to let stuff breathe, you know, and let the negative areas speak. Especially when you have a picture like the one that this picture I'm working on is going to be. Different creatures. There's got to be a focal point somewhere where your eye can rest. And so, looking at Alan Davis' stuff, he used to do a lot of the Incredible Hulk stuff back in the day.
Have you seen his nail work?
No.
The nail. That. So there's like two main volumes of work that because I have a bunch of his work too. He had a big impact on me as well.
Okay.
About 10, 15, maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Awesome.
He worked on something called The Nail and Another Nail. It's called The Nail, and then part 2 is called Another Nail.
Okay.
It's a Elseworld story for the Justice League. Gorgeous. It's one of his best works. The second thing he did that was super excellent was something called, it was a Legion of Superheroes prestige format book.
Okay.
Fantastic. You got to get that. Those are the quintessential Alan Davis works.
Okay.
And then if I was going to suggest one more, I have a copy of The End for the Fantastic Four that he did. Fantastic Four: The End. Beautiful. And the one the black and white I have is his pencils, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. If you can find that, that's a tremendous resource.
I will, man. I gotta find a lot of stuff online. Just Google it and whatever.
Yeah.
Make like references of various artists. There's another artist. Let me see if I can find it. His name. I always say it wrong. But let me see here. Going to my little influences thing here. Right now.
And this is the longest cooldown I've ever done. Let's see, Chauncey says, if y'all are reading this, hit the like button for this video to see that blue thumbs up. Yes, sir. Thank you, Chauncey. I appreciate that. Alika says, Frank Miller was dope with negative space. Frank Miller,
he was
incredible. I didn't appreciate Dark Knight until like 6 years ago. I've always had it in my collection because I knew it was an important work, but I never really appreciated it until about 6 years ago. I was like, whoa, I start to see in him the genius. Do you remember his work? He was imitating I wonder if I get this right. I think I'm going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but he did a book called Electra Lives.
Vaguely I remember that. Vaguely.
It was bad. It was nasty book.
I think I remember that.
So Chauncey's mad. He says, Caanan, you never said what you're drawing here.
Oh, I thought I did.
I thought you did too.
Actually, I thought I did early on. But anyway.
Chauncey wasn't listening. He was talking to Ben.
Real quick, Chauncey, I'll show you in a minute. I'll tell you, but I was going to show you the artist I was talking about. His name is Paulo Sequeira. I got one of his drawings on the screen.
Oh, hold on. I know who you're talking about.
This dude, man. Like, his work is a huge, huge, huge influence on me too.
Is it Sakira?
Is it?
Is that how it is? I think that's who you're talking about.
Yeah.
If I've got the name right.
Like, his black and white renders, and the way he chooses even his pencils were like insane.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know who he reminds me of a little bit is Ryan Sook. Who's another beast. Like, he'll eat your face off.
Now you gonna make me look.
Yeah, man.
I'm coming, Chauncey. Hold on, man. Is it, how you say it? What's the last name? How you spell it?
Sook. SOOK.
All right. It's okay.
I think you'll appreciate it.
Oh man.
Yeah. He's nasty.
It almost reminds me of Magnola.
Okay, so this is probably older, but yeah, when he first started, he was a Mignola he copied Mignola a lot, but then he kind of combined Mignola with Adam Hughes in a way, and then he's evolved from there. It's super.
Is this one of his newer ones?
Probably, yeah. That's more of his current style.
Okay. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. Those are the Watchmen.
That's nice.
Yeah. See, I like. So another artist that I've came around to. I'm going to be doing like little videos of all these artists because I love them all so much. But I want to do one of the ones I fell in love with that I used to hate was who?
Who was? Oh no, I was saying who was it?
Oh, Frank Quitely. I could not stand that guy. And then all of a sudden, like it clicked for me. And I saw what he was doing. He was doing this very simple line approach. He was creating these really cool looks, and I was just like blown away.
That's awesome.
So his stuff on Superman All-Star Superman, fantastic.
Oh, I know you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Then he used to do X-Men. He did an X-Men run.
He did, and I didn't care. That's why I didn't care for his stuff, because his stuff can be ugly. It's like a little grotesque.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of how Frank Miller is, a little grotesque. But when what he did for that, he also did something, same approach he took to Superman, he did to a book called Jupiter's Legacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Yeah, that stuff he did in there was just fantastic. So he's one of my key artists. I have a collection that I have, like a mini collection of all I keep it close to my drawing table all the time.
That's awesome.
Comics Legend says Sook's going to be drawing Action Comics #5. Ooh, that's going to be good.
Nice. Let
me see. Jorge Safino, check him out. Yeah, I think I know who that is. Winter World. Yeah. He worked. Comics Legend says he worked with Mignola. He is working on Action Comics. Chauncey says, "Haha, y'all awesome." I think you're right, Elliot. Ben might have threw me off. My apologies. Thank you.
To answer your question too, Chauncey, her name is Smollett. Vivian Smollett. She's a character for a series that we're working on. Me and another friend of mine. She's a cowgirl / hunter, paranormal hunter, all that rolled into one, man. She's a beast. Very confident, knows what she's doing, and will drop all the bad guys in a heartbeat. Yeah. And she has a nice little team. Yeah, it's cool because we actually incorporated some historical figures in there. Like one of her mentors is Bass Reeves, who was he was actually the influence for the Lone Ranger character.
Oh, really?
He was when he retired. While he was alive, he was one of the most feared lawmen in the land because he always always got his bounty. Like when he retired, he retired with like no one ever got away. Like he always brought him in. He's a beast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. You ever think about doing? Oh, that is a kind of a Western.
Yeah, it's a Western fantasy kind of vibe, man. So
I'm glad you're doing it that way, because it's unfortunate that Westerns don't have the popularity it used to. There's still good stories to be told with that kind of subject matter.
there are, and I think that's when a guy he kind of came with me like with this character, it immediately I was like, oh yeah, and and kind of of course, like I said, her being a black female was different. It was something different. She's leading the book. So she'll be, and so it's kind of like, oh man, and this is definitely a new territory. And then like once you figure out her story, and then we incorporate the monsters and all that stuff, dude. It's gonna be What's cool is, man, the guy's got some Sony ties, and so he was talking with somebody and actually pitched it to a couple of people, pretty notable, man, and they're like, oh man, if you had some pages or something, I would actually take it to my film guy. And so he's like, get some more content and this, that, and the other, man. So I was like sometime last year, so I just had a hiatus because I was doing several things.
Yeah.
Kind of like now, but but yeah, it's I tell you, man. I'm enjoying, man, just being able to work with so many different people, and I don't think, and that's another thing too, man. I don't think mainstream would afford you as an artist the liberties to be able to do kind of multiple things,
Right.
because of the deadlines and the schedules are so intense. You're talking about monthly titles, dude, are hard. And so, but with doing graphic novels, you have the liberty to put your best foot forward, and the indie stuff, you have kind of the liberty to work with multiple people and create multiple things, almost like writers do. Writers can write several different stories. It's a little different with them because I don't think it, and I could be wrong, but I don't think it takes as long to write a story as opposed to illustrating it.
I suspect the same.
Yeah.
Ben could answer that question, I guess. He's not even here anymore. He left.
He abandoned us.
Yeah.
He's all about to get off in a little bit.
Is he? What time? Where are you at now? What time zone are you in?
East Coast. So
East Coast. Oh, so it's late. You're up late with me.
Yeah, man.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, I feel like I've held you up, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man.
I want to do this more often, man.
Yeah, man. I love it. And like, sometimes it's not about, I want you to get as much visibility as possible, but sometimes it's just cool to just hang out, like an art studio type of situation. So I like that idea.
Speaking of which, you gonna be on the draw off today?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh man, come on, man. You gotta be on there.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I got a funny feeling. I don't know. People didn't like my Captain America last time, so I just got a little offended. No, I'm just kidding. I sound terrible, man. I sound like I just turned into my 12-year-old daughter. Little Michael Jackson. No, no. I want to. I'm planning on it.
I think Art's going to actually join us. He said he would.
Yeah, I called him out on that little, and he didn't see me, but I guess I didn't call him out because he didn't care.
He was on another stream.
How about that? Left us flat.
Yeah, I was like, man. He was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, what?
He tried to say that he was. He tried to say that he was. Oh, I read it wrong, and then something else happened, and and I said, nah, I'm not doing that. He got a better offer. That's what happened.
Yeah, right. John Mayer said he was depressed. He stayed off of it. Stayed off of it a week. I was like, oh, dude. This was good too, man. They were all really good.
They were all good. Yeah, we all did a good job, I think. Yeah. I just hope it's a cooler Cap. Cap is hard, man. He's not that. I don't know. I love Cap.
Characters are hard to draw because they have a certain about them, and if you don't get it, it looks weird.
Yeah. I threw myself off. I think I went too deep into detail too soon. But trust me, I wasn't sure I could afford to send a printout anyway, so it'd be all right.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I hope I lose. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's see. Chauncey says your Cap was great. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You're probably talking about Caanan, though.
How about you?
Let's see. Comments that you said we loved it. Yeah, I watched that doc. It's from Ilika, Spain. So Chauncey said he's never going to call that girl a B.
Oh, Vivian, no, don't do that.
No, don't do that. Tommy says, how many projects do you have going?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, this is on my own time, pretty much. So this isn't like pressing. But as far as I think total will be 3. Of course, brand.
Wow.
Which is, soon to become the primary. I'm working on that book for Stranger Comics. Assessa, which is actually going to be really fun to do. And then pretty much this, of course, commission stuff, but work as far as like heavy lifting is will be those 3. But
I have to pick your brain one of these days. I always ask everybody this question, but one of these days go over what your approach is to environments and backgrounds and that sort of stuff. That's always a challenge for me.
Best thing I can say, man, is treat it with the same amount of care you do your character. And if you don't know what it looks like, definitely look at a reference. Something I think John Malin even said, which I've done a couple of times too. Actually did on another art piece. Actually, I'll show you. Let me see here. Give me a second. I'll open it up. But it was I had to draw this character surrounded by a squad of police cars. And so instead of drawing them freehand, I actually found an image or a few images and traced them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you have to do that for like cities and things like that, don't be, ashamed to don't be ashamed to do that, man, because it actually makes a difference. You can tell when you don't know how to do it as opposed to knowing how to do it effectively. So yeah, I mean that's what I did. Not for the buildings in this picture, but the cars.
Yeah.
I actually traced, found a police car, and then found an SUV, and then especially for this SWAT cruiser.
Yeah, it looks good. Thank you. You know who does that too, and just at a higher level is Brian Hitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a book. I mean, maybe it might. What does this mean to dox people? What does that mean? I don't get that. I don't get the reference at all. But anyway, that's another time. That's another discussion about how much of a boomer I am. There's a book that is available. It's what's it called? I have it in my collection here. Something Studio. It's about Brian Hitch's studio.
Okay.
And which I was so envious of that. It looks so nice. That's
awesome.
Primarily because he's such a neat person. So, it is what it is. But he was talking about how he approaches that in his studio. Alika Spain brought up Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean Gordon's really amazing. I love Sean's stuff.
Yeah, his backgrounds are
monstrous. He's real stylized too, so he's not doing necessarily photographic. He probably is, but he's got a very clever way of handling it.
I think he said, and I could be wrong, but I don't think he does how you do perspective lines and stuff. He just kind of draws, kind of lets it flow. kind of just environments and stuff. I mean, it's so. That's what I'm saying. Like when you approach background, you have to treat it like a character, because it's, especially depending on where your character is. For example, if it's Batman, Gotham City is a character. I mean, it's so iconic.
Right.
From the buildings to architecture, the people, technology. It's kind of trapped between that 30s, 40s noir, kind of vibe. So certain buildings, and then it's got elements of New York City in it. So you have to make sure you add those things. But yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that you don't want to, especially when you're telling a story, skim over, because it shows like, okay, you obviously don't know how to do like backgrounds effectively. People can tell. And I'm always under the impression, man, like if it takes place in Singapore or Shanghai or Tokyo, somewhere like that, or even Germany, there's elements in certain buildings that have to be there. Even New York City, there's a certain lay of the city that has to be there, and if it's not, it's like, well, it kind of looks like New York, but
more like West Tampa.
Right.
Wait a minute, that's supposed to be
right. And it takes the reader out of the story, because they're like, okay, I don't believe this is New York. This maybe Chicago, or shoot, maybe where I'm from, Indiana. It's like, hey, New York. So, but yeah.
Well, brother, I really appreciate you. I thank you for talking me off the ledge tonight.
I'm bad.
And I wasn't, it wasn't anything crazy. I just genuinely was like, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm creating worse situation for anybody, because I'm trying to understand and appreciate everybody's perspective. I don't want to be doing that. Yeah. But Chauncey says docs means to putting someone's personal information. I get that part, but where does docs come from? Like where does that term come from? Is it short for paradox? I don't know. Comics Legend says, I like how Jack Kirby made up his own visual language for backgrounds, vehicles, and tech. I do too, but I don't think I think when I'm ready to do one of my stories, which is more of like an all ages book, I can probably do a Kirby approach to it. The problem is that Kirby's approach today, people wouldn't appreciate it as much. And I don't want to ruin the story because I'm trying to force a style down someone's throat. Because I love Kirby. I love Kirby. And one of the things that I when I do John Byrne in my video series, I'm going to talk about patterns and methods of work. That's one of the things that these guys brought to the table, especially John Buscema as well. They brought a method of working. People complain that John Byrne was always, Storm looked just like Jean Grey, just had different color skin and different hairstyle. It's true, but this is the reason why he was so prolific.
Yeah,
because he figured out a way to tell those stories. Same with John Buscema, same with Jack Kirby, same with Sal Buscema. They all developed a visual language that allowed them to work. Yeah. And that's one of the downsides. As much as I love this kind of detail, this has created an atmosphere of like that. It's so time consumptive, which is the reason why a lot of my stories, I plan on doing them in a much simpler style, more like an anime style, or not an anime style, but an animation, like kind of like a Warner Brothers animation styles.
Right.
I like developing that look in my work where I'm using, thin, everything's more open versus, cooler style versus a hot style full of black.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's also a guy like Chris Somney who kind of does both. He has the simple style, but he infuses a lot of black into his work. Yeah,
so Mike Manoa, he does that. The guy that does help.
Yes, he does. And that guy's crazy. He does like crazy heavy
blacks. Yeah.
No. He goes all out, man. He'll just like go nuts with all the details.
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end he blacks it all out. So yeah, but I have a similar problem with my work, man. All this stuff that you see right here, I'll get lost in all this, and then I'll say, I'll just start blacking stuff out because I'm like, oh, well, that needs to be dark now. This is why one of the things I'm gonna when I get ready to start doing, I'm gonna start doing these for my Patreon members. I'm gonna start doing like at the $10 tier. I'm gonna get people together and do seminars.
Yes.
Some of it's for me, like I'm going to explain what it's supposed to look like, but really I'm just helping myself get better at it too.
Gotcha.
And because I know what to do, like, I was talking about perspective and backgrounds. I know what to do. It's just, I'm always hoping that somebody has the magic bullet, like, okay, what's your secret sauce, but,
do it.
Yeah, right.
It's not.
But one of the things I remember, Mike Waringo used to spend a lot of time doing, and Buscema talks about this in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, but he'll do his loose sketch, and he'll put a tracing paper or whatever on top of it, and he'll black out what's going to be black, so that when he goes into the art itself, he's not deciding that in the process. He doesn't waste any time with detail he doesn't need to draw.
Okay.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But but look at me, I'm an idiot. I'm doing all these lines everywhere. But you know what though?
I like your line weight style though.
Yeah, I do too. And don't get me wrong, it's cool. It's just that I make these choices at the end of the process that are dumb. Like, man, why did I draw all this if I'm just going to black it all out?
Right.
So it's one of those things. If you could get there sooner, I'm all about now. That's since the beginning of 2018. My whole thing was work smarter, not harder. That was my big mantra. The right tool for the job. And there's definitely tools that we tend to miss. Sometimes digital creates the problem because we get hung up on doing stuff that really ought not to do. But because you have such a fast tool to edit, you tend to let it go.
It's like, I can just undo.
Yeah.
But,
well, listen, everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys. Chauncey, thanks for being so vocal, and comics legend, and Elika, what's going on, my man? All you guys who contributed, Ben, wherever you are, I love you. And let's see who else was in here. Tommy, thank you for your comments. Let's see, Tumbacalypse, who's probably not here anymore either. But seriously, guys, I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. This has been quite the cool down session. It cooled down, warmed up, and cooled down again. You guys be good, and we'll talk soon, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Peace.